Hello class, this is Dr. Tony Richie. I want to take a few minutes today to mention a few highlights regarding our work together as we begin our work together, I should say, on TS 630 online, or Theology of the Holy Spirit. I appreciate your patience as we transition after Dr. Yoon's departure and my entrance into this program together with you. I'm excited about our time together. I have taught Theology of the Holy Spirit previously, and it is one of my favorite courses. I hope and believe that it will be a blessing to you as well, and a challenging and enriching learning experience. I only have a few things I would like to mention. Mostly I want to assure some continuity and stability. First of all, of course, as you already know, TS 630 online Theology of the Holy Spirit is dedicated to the subject of pneumatology, or the study of the Holy Spirit. I would only mention that, of course, it is a required elective of our core doctrinal courses. The Theology of the Holy Spirit, as we approach it in this course, attempts to revision Christian theology with pneumatology at the center. I would like to clarify that statement a bit. Revisioning Christian theology with a pneumatological center does not mean removing other important aspects from the center of theology and replacing it with pneumatology. For example, we will not remove Christology and replace it with pneumatology. We will not remove the study of Christ in order to replace it with the study of the Holy Spirit. However, we will attempt to counter what has often been a historical and theological trend towards subordinationism. Subordinationism is when one of the members of the Trinity is subordinated to the study of the others and results in a minimization and a lack, a sort of lacunae, if you will. Throughout history, it has not been uncommon, in fact it has been quite common, for pneumatology to be subsumed under and subordinated to Christology. By making our course focus on a revision of Christian theology with a pneumatological center, we are simply giving the Holy Spirit and the study of the Holy Spirit the attention that it deserves, and in fact for a sound theological system requires. What this means is, as we prefer to call it, we will be engaging in a robust Trinitarian theology. In other words, a full-orbed Trinitarian theology. This means that along with the traditional and essential attention to theology proper, the doctrine of God, or Christology, pneumatology will also get emphatic attention. One more clarification along this line. Revisioning Christian theology does not imply for us in this course going back and starting all over again and changing the theological corpus or the theological content that we have been fortunate enough to be beneficiaries of after 2,000 years plus of Christian reflection and theologizing. Rather, it means that when we give the person and work of the Holy Spirit, or pneumatology, the appropriate attention, that will affect, in fact it will enhance and enrich the overall theological project. Accordingly, there is some revisioning goes on when we expand our theological paradigm to include a robust Trinitarianism, which gives an appropriate place to pneumatology. In other words, we will be countering the trend toward subordinationism that has been theoretically and even more so practically speaking an issue in Christian theology. Now, one more thing. This week in our beginning lesson, Introduction to the Course and Pentecostal Explorations of the Spirit, we attempted to identify the overall scope and content of the course, to identify principal features of classical Pentecostalism, deduce the place of pneumatology in Christian theology, as we were talking about previously just a moment ago, also to deduce the possibility of a pneumatocentric revision in theology, again, as I just explained. And finally, of course, to explain the role and impact of the experience of Spirit baptism. Just to clarify again, what I'm looking at here would be what I call a holistic pneumatology. A holistic pneumatology. The person and work of the Holy Spirit is not, as in some traditions, only about regeneration or new birth, or in others only about sanctification, or in others only about spiritual gifts, the charismata or glossolalia, speaking in tongues. But the Holy Spirit, the person and work of the Holy Spirit, should be approached in a holistic fashion, in an all-inclusive and all-embracing fashion. As Dr. Hollis Gause has indicated in his classic volume on the Holy Spirit, Living in the Spirit, The Way of Salvation, the fact is that the Holy Spirit is involved in our whole or entire life as Christians. So then, our course will approach the study of pneumatology in a holistic manner, seeing that, stressing even, that the Holy Spirit is involved in all of the Christian life, in all of Christian faith and practice, in all of Christian thought or theology, as well as its implications and applications. So then, I only wish to clarify these two aspects of our beginning work together. First, what we mean by revisioning Christian theology with a pneumatological center, and secondly, what we mean by Pentecostal explorations of the Spirit. Of course, on the latter, while we want to stress the holistic or inclusive nature of pneumatology, we are approaching all of our studies here as Pentecostal Christians, those who believe in Spirit baptism, spiritual gifts, and so on. Accordingly, this will give us a foundation upon which to build the rest of our work together before going into the role of the Holy Spirit as depicted in the Old Testament and the New Testament, before seeing how that the Holy Spirit is depicted in the Eastern tradition of the church or in the tradition of the church in the West, and so on. These are foundations that we'll build upon. Thank you very much, class, for your attention. And I will be coming back to you again later with brief audio and sometimes video messages in order to be able to enhance our communication through the online process. I would like to assure you, too, that as both a professor of theology and as a lead pastor in a local Church of God congregation, I see our theological work together as an aspect of God's calling, and I see you as well, I hope, as you see me, as fellow travelers, co-laborers. My prayers, my thoughts, and my prayers are with you, and I ask the Lord to help us in our work together. Thank you, and God bless you.